What is going on, Bedroom Gang? Welcome back to Beats in Bed, the home for bedroom producers. And if you are new here, please feel free to join the Beats in Bed family by subscribing to the channel. And also, if you find this content useful, feel free to like the video as well. But today I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit of my mixing process when I'm using the MPC and what I'm thinking along the way, so you guys can get an insight of how I got this mix within here. So what's interesting about this beat is that I posted it on Reddit, and I got a lot of people asking me how I got the mix to sound so clean and clear. And what's funny is that I didn't really do much at all. And I think that's what I really want to showcase in this video, is that you don't have to do much. A lot of times it's down to sound selection and just creating space. And that's really what I strive to do in a lot of my beats. So I really want to show you guys that it's possible within the MPC to have a polished sound. Now, don't get it twisted. I am no professional engineer. I just have learned a couple of things along the way, and I've really trained my ear in these headphones to know what I'm hearing. So that's a tip for you guys. Make sure you're taking the time to learn whatever you're listening in, whether it be studio monitors or headphones. I currently use the DT 1990s as my go-to sound source, and I've learned it in and out. So, you know, if you guys have anything that you're using out there, I don't care if it's cheap, expensive, you have to really train your ear to understand what's happening and what result you want to get out of it. So that's a tip for you guys. But before we head over to the MPC, I want to first shout out Masada, who provided the sample for this beat. Really cool guy. He creates some fire samples. And if you guys join the MPC family Facebook group, he puts out these samples and gives an opportunity to collab with him, as well as an opportunity to get your song placed on his compilation album on all streaming platforms. So I think it's a really cool thing that he's doing. So go ahead and join the MPC family. It's filled with creatives who are just talented, also just really good vibes and positive energy. So if you want to go to a place where you just feel at home with like-minded individuals, head on over and join the group. But enough talking, let's go ahead and jump into the MPC so I can show you guys my process. All right, guys, so here we are at the MPC. And as you can see, we have a total of only 6 tracks. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're thinking about the overall picture and what you're trying to achieve, you want to leave space. And that's one of my main tips for you guys, is just try to leave more space. I know, you know, as producers, we want to kill the track and we want to put all types of sounds in there, but try to keep it simple. You know, it's not that deep all the time. And I'm going to show you guys that. So I'm going to start off with the kick and the snare, because that's what I originally started this track off with. I'm going to go ahead and solo that. So already you can hear that there's a good groove going. So it makes my job a lot easier for when I decide to add the sample. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys hear what that sounds like with the kick and snare. So the sample sounds really good, but the one thing that I'm noticing is that the kick and the snare is very mid-heavy. So the sample is clashing with the kick and the snare, and we don't want that. So we want to make room. So again, guys, we want to always think about the overall goal, which is to make space for everything else in the mix. So let's go ahead and add my trusty EQ. And this is actually my favorite plugin on the MPC, guys. And that is the Air Kill EQ. I really love this thing, man. It really gives you a quick way to EQ. And there's literally only 3 parameters: high, mid, and low. Now, to be honest with you, sometimes I'll tweak these over here, but for the most part, I stay right in this middle area. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and make some room with this sample, okay? So let's go ahead and play it. I'm gonna cut some of these lows. All right, we already got some space in there. Let's cut some of the mid too. I'm gonna bypass it. See how muddy it sounds? And literally just by cutting the low and the mid, you leave a lot of space for that kick and snare to breathe. So as you guys can hear, you know, we're literally creating space for the kick and the snare to breathe. We created balance within the mix, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So I'm gonna let you guys hear it again, on and off. Night and day difference, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next track. So one thing that I did within this beat that was really creative is I took the same exact sample and I duplicated it and I sped it up because there was a part that sounded like a nice string sample and I wanted some strings in here, but I really don't know how to play too well, so I use what I can. So I just sped up the sample, same exact chops, and I found a part in there that had some strings and a guitar, and it fit perfectly. And here it is right here. So as you can hear right now, it's overpowering everything. So we're going to take the same exact approach. We're going to use the kill EQ and we're going to completely kill the lows. I don't want any lows. So what we're doing now is we're shaping the sound to where it gets out of the way for the other sounds, but also has a unique balance to it. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So already we've created that space. I've added a little bit of top end so you know that when this comes in, it's a part of the hook and it's above everything else. You know, it's sitting in the back, it's tucked, but also it has a little bit more high end, so it's prominent within what you're hearing. So I also cut out all the lows completely because we don't need that. The sample already has that. I cut a little bit of the mids and I gave it some highs. I'm gonna do it before and after. All right, so here we go. One other thing you're going to notice is that I haven't touched any fader yet. So I haven't adjusted any levels, but just literally dialing back on some of these parameters, whether it be the mid, low, high, it's kind of tucking that sound to where it's almost leveling it for you. Haven't touched anything, but that's the beauty within this EQing is that you're literally tucking sounds and you're pushing it in the background, but also putting it in the forefront, if that makes sense. So one thing that I'm hearing that can add a little bit more ear candy is possibly, you know, doing an auto pan to where it goes left and right. So it really just adds some width in the sound and gives it something different. So let's go ahead and try that now. All right, so what I'm gonna use for that is the auto pan sync to where it syncs the tempo. All right, so here we are. I'm gonna go through some of the presets and see what we can dial in. Really like that. So you can hear it's bouncing left and right between the speakers, you know, just giving something different for your ears so it's not so boring, right? So another thing that I'm hearing within this sample is I want it to be a little bit more wide, just to add some more presence to it. So I'm going to add a stereo width. We're going to try to make it sound a little bit bigger. So it's not the biggest difference, but it's very subtle. You can kind of hear that it's a little bit more wide and it feels like it's being panned a little bit more further outward. So I really like that sound and I'm done with that sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next sound, and that's gonna be these bells or Celeste, whatever you want to call them. So only thing I can hear out of that is that I want to, you know, do a little bit more EQ and clean it up so we leave some room. Back to the kill EQ again. I think for this, I want to kill the lows entirely because we don't need them. like that. So what I did was I completely cut the lows out. I tucked a little bit of the mid so, it's not so prominent in the mid area. And then I gave it a little bit more high end so you can hear it on top of everything else as well. And I'm done with that. So like I said earlier, we're not doing too much. You know what I mean? I got a couple of effects on some of these channels, but it's not a lot. We're not killing the sound. And lastly, we got the bass, right? All right, so for this one, I'm gonna just go ahead and take some of those highs out because we don't need them. All right, guys, so we pretty much got everything we need as far as plugins go. There's a really cool trick that I learned that I want to show you guys to where you're not confusing yourself or you're not under the illusion of all the stereo sounds within here that can help you when it comes to leveling, right? So what you want to do is you want to go to the main screen, or you could have did that from there, but I choose the main screen. And then you want to go to the effects on the main channel. I'm gonna go to an empty spot here and I'm gonna choose the stereo width plugin. Stick with me, stick with me. And what I'm about to do is turn this to mono. So we're gonna turn this all the way down. The width is at 0. So everything is dead in the center. So I'm gonna play the beat and you're gonna hear all the imperfections because there's no stereo imaging that's clouding your judgment, right? So I'm gonna play it for you guys so you can hear how muddy it's gonna sound. So as you can hear, everything is cluttered. It just sounds like a big mess. So what we're going to go ahead and do is balance the mix out, and we're going to turn everything down but the kick and the snare. All right, I'm going to start bringing everything up. What I like to do is I like to start with the bass because that's really like the foundation, kick, snare, bass, and then everything can kind of go around that. All right, so I'm going to bring it up. Start bringing in the original sample. Go ahead and bring the other sound in so I can hear what it sounds like. Let's see. So you can barely hear it, but that's cool because it's still mono, remember. Very subtle in the background, but you can still hear the presence. Now to the hook. right, and for the magic moment, we're gonna turn this off and see what it sounds like. Just like that. You got a clean mix. So the final step for me is a soft clipper that's going into a limiter. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take these off because I already did something with them before. We don't want to do that. We want to start from scratch. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the limiter on. So all I'm gonna be doing with the air limiter is bringing the ceiling down to negative 0.3, just so it's not hitting at zero. And just protecting the overall sound. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Just like that. And that's done. And for the final touch, I use the soft clipper just to bring up the dynamics and make sure everything is glued together and sounds polished. So here we go. So for this, I'm going to keep everything the same. I like the Feels Fruity preset, pause. And I'm going to keep everything on this tan shape. And then I'm going to just boost the drive and that should be it. So let's go ahead and do it. And literally, guys, just like that, it's done. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off for you to hear what it sounds like before. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it on so you guys can hear what it's like after. And just like that, guys, we are done and we kept it simple. Literally just used a couple of plugins, EQ, did some slight panning, leveling, and that was it. And we're done. So of course there's a lot more that you can, get involved with, but this is just how I do things. And if you guys have a better way to do things, please let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know, what plugins are you using? How are you leveling your beats and how are you doing it in MPC? I'm really curious to know. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and got something out of it. And if you did, please feel free to like the video, comment, subscribe, and yeah, and join the Beats and Bed family, man. So thank you guys for stopping by and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, peace.